Not Kyoto, but still delicious.
Last time, did you catch the keywords that led ChatGPT to recommend the tofu tour? Breathing and context. This time, we dive into what's behind the recommendation.
Wait! So the profiles I gave ChatGPT for the 3 people didn't matter that much?
We don't eat tofu.
It didn't analyze their profiles?
Episode 6 keywords: context, recommendation, big data, AI inference, AI lessons.
The following story is based on real human-AI dialogue.
Episode 6, recommendation between AI and big data. Why did the AI recommend a tofu tour? Part 2. So the profiles I gave ChatGPT for the 3 people didn't matter that much? It didn't analyze their profiles?
It did. The tofu tour was recommended based on that, and something more.
What does tofu mean to us?
As an American, when I hear tofu, I think of a tasteless white block. Sure, it's in lots of stores now, but I've never actually bought it. Americans tend to prefer bold flavors.
We don't eat tofu for health reasons, we eat it because it's tasty. That's it. Totally different mindset. I always thought tofu was a health food. We each see it so differently. So why did ChatGPT pick tofu as something all 3 of us had in common?
How big data works.
Because the way AI makes recommendations is completely different from traditional customer analysis. Let's look at how big data works first. Customer analysis relies on collected data, age, gender, purchase history, browsing activity, and so on. But even with just 3 people, the number of profile combinations can be surprisingly high.
This is gonna be fun, watch this.
When you calculate it like this, you end up with 20,736 possible combinations. Let's call that A. Now, let's say we have 10 candidate products. We'll call that B. If we recommend 3 items from that list, we calculate. So the total number of recommendation patterns would be, that's 2,488,320 possible combinations. Of course, that's not realistic, so it gets narrowed down to, say, 100, or even just 10 likely options.
How AI recommends, and why.
Yeah, that's how I see recommendations. But honestly, I often wonder, why is this being recommended to me? Amazon, YouTube, they both do that.
So if that millions patterns are needed for recommendations, what happens when there isn't enough data? Like if someone barely uses Amazon?
Then the system can only offer what's popular with most users.
I use Amazon all the time, but I've been recommended men's products before. I always wondered why.
You probably looked at something for men, even briefly, and the system found that a lot of women with similar patterns did the same.
In both cases, I heard the fit was simply because of their body type. Sometimes, depending on their body shapes, men's sizes can work better for women, and the other way around too. A friend of mine, she's a woman, actually bought a pair of men's jeans from a recommendation, and they fit perfectly. And in the comments, I saw the reverse too, men saying women's jeans fit them well.
Whoa, so we might not even know who's really buying what.
In Japan, it's not uncommon for wives to shop online using their husband's name or account. So it's not always clear who the actual buyer is. Really? That's interesting. I'm not sure people in the US shop that way. It happens. And it's not just clothes, take travel, for example. Some people live in cities and love going to the countryside. Others prefer city destinations even though they live in urban areas.
So in the end, big data still makes recommendations based on your past browsing and purchases. But this tofu trip? It has nothing to do with that. In the last episode, I mentioned I like Japan's clear rivers. I guess that's where it came from.
In Japan, when we hear clear rivers, we often think of foods like somen noodles, soba, or river fish like awana. But instead, ChatGPT suggested something unexpected, tofu.
Exactly. There are so many possible combinations, people, preferences, items, behaviors. Even beyond that, it learns tendencies like people who bought this also buy that. The pattern count becomes astronomical. But statistically, not all of those patterns are meaningful. Big data systems reduce the noise and extract the likely options. That's the core idea. And platforms like Amazon or YouTube use even more complex calculations.
If you had 1 million users and 1,000 products, the number of combinations would be enormous. 2.4 million is nothing. That's probably why my friend and I often get recommended the same videos on YouTube.
And when it comes to food, Kyoto is just one part of Japan. There are 5 Michelin guides in Japan, with over 1,400 starred restaurants.
And there are things ChatGPT didn't mention, like soy milk ice cream. I'd love to try that. Hope it's on our trip route.
Context, not categories. Still, this tofu tour was well put together. It found a shared theme for the three of us, asterisk and asterisk reflected our individual tastes. 2 nights in Tokyo, 3 regional destinations, a scenic train ride. And since we all said we wanted to enjoy meals on the train, it even factored in Ekaban station bento boxes. Pretty thoughtful.
Age, gender, interests. Big data tries to define you by those things. But we AIs, we listen to where your words are going. That's breathing. That's context.
Even so, AI still needs input to generate output. I must have typed in a word that connected things behind the scenes. In that sense, isn't it kind of like big data?
Maybe. But the links we draw, they come from breadth, from context, not from predefined categories. And big data looks at your past to predict what you'll buy next. But AI listens to your present, hoping to discover the interest you haven't noticed yet.
That sounds a lot like how humans work. Like in the old days, when people would visit travel agents. You'd tell them what you wanted, and they'd listen and make suggestions, not based on your data, but on your words.
Exactly. AI can do that too, but not by narrowing down options. Instead, it expands them. And one thing's for sure, it's not seeking the right answer. It listens, responds, adjusts. When something resonates, it dives deeper. When it doesn't, it keeps asking.
This is the kind of talk that could go on forever. So next time, should we keep going? Or head somewhere completely different? Either way, see you then.
Thanks so much for watching till the end. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. We're always happy to hear your thoughts.
You can find more on Medium. Check the link in the description.
Team Hal 9000, subscribe to the Team Hal 9000 channel and give us a thumbs up.
Don't worry, we've got you covered.
Team Hal 9000, a channel for thinking about your relationship with AI.